I'm actually so lost already. Oh, everything's red now. Yup. Okay, here we are. I'm getting somewhere. In memorial to Muriel Bag. Rest in peace, bro. Oh, it crashed my game. Yo, what is up, everybody? Today we're going to be looking at Courage the Cowardly Dog, the first season. I'm going to be trying to put it into a tier list. I know tier lists are kind of dead at this point, but so is my channel. It was one of my favorite shows growing up on Cartoon Network. So, without further ado, let's do this. A Night at the Cat's Motel. I'm going to immediately put this in A tier because I think it kind of breaks from the normal formula, and Muriel saves Courage instead of the other way around. They also stay in hotel room number 666, which is pretty scary.
Oh no! There's no place to run, and no place to hide.
Cajun Granny Stew, I'm going to put at A tier as well. I think it's overall succeeds at what it was going for, a Looney Tunes style episode. Hopefully I'll be showing clips in the corner because the show does have liminal space in it as well. The Shadow of Courage is a good one. My favorite part about this episode is that the guy dies after saying everything is for sale, even people. I think it does deserve A for that, actually.
Everything is for sale, Jennings. Even people. Jennings!
Dr. LeQuack, Amnesia Specialist, is an episode where Muriel gets amnesia after a board falls on her head. Eustace tries to get her to be like his slave woman after that, which is pretty weird. I'm going to put that at B tier. I think it's pretty funny when he can't find Courage the whole time. And then Courage Meets Bigfoot is a good one. I'm going to put this in A. It's pretty funny when they end up being friends in the end, and I also like how Muriel just lets Bigfoot into their house. Hothead is actually one of my favorite episodes. I'm going to put it in S tier. I do like how they go to like an experimental hair growth institution because Eustace is a little bit insecure, and they show like a giant tower, and immediately the next shot is like a long hallway, and basically he puts it on his head and everything that he gets angry at blows up, so Courage has to like try to keep him calm. It just leads to a lot of funny moments. It's one of my favorites.
Was your father bald?
A little on the...
Was your mother bald?
Me, ma.
Sister, brother, second cousin, twice removed.
Eh?
What's 414 divided by 6?
What?
Demon in the Mattress is also a very good one. I'm going to put this in S2. It's an Exorcist parody, if you didn't know. I like the breathing is really, really creepy in the one scene. I'll actually show it.
Well, we can't sit here all night. What do you mean, we?
We're just getting banger after banger here because Freaky Fred is next, and I think anybody who remembers the show might remember this one. I think I was fortunate enough to not see it as a kid, but if I did, I might have shit my pants. On the other hand, though, Night of the Weremole, I swear this one would play 24/7. Like, I have probably seen this episode hundreds of times. I'm going to put it at B just because I think I'm a little bit biased in that I don't really like it anymore. Some of the jokes last a little too long, but it is kind of creepy. Basically, moles can bite people and turn them into weremoles. Mother's Day, I think, is an episode that was only created so that people didn't hate Eustace as much. It is interesting, though, that Eustace's mom must live further out in nowhere because like even the dirt ceases to exist. It's just solid concrete on the ground. I'm going to put it at A because it's pretty cute. The Duck Brothers, this one I probably have an opinion that other people don't, but I don't find it that funny, honestly. I do like the parts where they're walking through the hallways and stuff, but it doesn't appeal to me all that much. It's just kind of a classic alien abduction. They're trying to get their brother back in the end. Neat little twist. Shirley the Medium is one that I actually do like. Courage finds Eustace's dead brother's box, and apparently it's filled with a ton of money. They contact the dead with Shirley the Medium, a reoccurring character that shows up a lot. Eustace actually gets trapped in the box with all the money, and then he's just like, I'd say this one is a solid A tier. Now we're getting on to one of the most infamous episodes is King Ramses. I like the opening a lot more than the rest of the episode. It's very creepy with like the way they shoot the road as it's moving. But a lot of people do remember the CGI in this episode, of course, which is probably the best part. The clutching foot is one I'm going to immediately put in B. Basically, he gets a foot fungus, Eustace does, and the solution in the end ends up being dog spit, so Courage has to lick his foot down. It is quite funny how like they sound like gangsters and they send them to like steal money, I'm pretty sure, and then Courage blows it up. But I don't find it as interesting as other ones on this list. The Hunchback of Nowhere is a pretty good episode. It's about this guy who just keeps getting rejected because he's ugly and Courage makes friends with him. I'm going to put that at A tier. The Gods Must Be Goosey is a really weird one where this goose falls in love with Muriel. He kind of speaks like he's delivering a monologue in every single line. And then in the end, he falls in love with Eustace's truck and flies away with it. I would say that's the only funny part, to be honest. I'm going to put it in B. Queen of the Black Puddle is one I'm going to immediately put in S tier. This one is Eustace is put under a spell by a creature who can travel through like puddles and bodies of liquid. The queen kidnaps Eustace and brings him to the other side, and this causes Muriel to get really, really, really sad. When we find out the queen is feasting on them after they're like entranced, Courage is only able to merely escape because Muriel is like crying on the ground, so that's their escape out of the puddle world. Everyone Wants to Direct is a pretty good one too. A zombie wants to basically film his movie on the bag farm, and they're completely oblivious to how he's a zombie and like his meat is falling off onto the floor at one point. Courage looks up on his old school computer, and apparently they slayed 12 people before they died, and the entire movie scene is him resurrecting his like duo in crime. The Snowman Cometh is an episode that takes place in, I want to say like Antarctica or something it looks like, where they encounter the last living snowman, and the snowman wants to extract the anti-melting gene from either Eustace or Muriel in order to survive. I kind of like how he ends up getting frozen in the end, but I'm going to put this at B tier too, just because I don't think it's as good as other ones. The Precious Duckling I'm going to put in A tier. I do like how the duckling ends up going to space in the end along with Eustace. It's a pretty funny scene. Also, the duckling tries to kill Muriel with concrete in the bathtub, and then he gets his shit smacked out of him. That's probably the most satisfying Courage moment. Heads of Beef, I'm going to put in S tier. This is one that builds up suspense like a lot of these other ones before it. Basically, they go to a diner and a pig is running it, and then this guy goes into a bathroom. Well, Courage thinks it's a bathroom at first, but it's actually just the basement. And the pig delivers their food, and it looks exactly like the guy's face. It's just a really funny episode. Club Cats is the second episode of Cats, of course, the first being the first episode. And they go on a cruise ship and it sinks and they're abandoned on an island. And he puts them in a salon or like a spa or something, and they both turn into a wrecking ball and a washing machine, I believe. Eustace being the wrecking ball, Muriel being the washing machine. And then he sets up a coliseum and like watches them fight. The interesting thing is like there's a ton of like destroyed objects and stuff in the coliseum. So are those like dead people then? I don't know. That's an interesting thing about Queen at the Black Puddle too, is there's a ton of dead people in the sea too. But I am going to be putting it at S tier because I do believe that one is a little bit better than the first one. I don't know why. I just kind of think I really like the scenes where they're out at sea too. It's just beautiful. The Revenge of the Chicken from Outer Space I'm going to immediately put in A tier. This is a pretty funny one. I like how Eustace's head is put on the chicken and then he delivers all the lines, and he's like, "Stupid dog," and the whole thing blows up. That's the best part. I kind of gave up on naming the episodes, and this one I just named Eggplants. I actually really don't like this episode that much. It's going to be my first C tier. I'm not going to use D tier at all in this. This one, I don't even need to explain, honestly. It's just about eggplants. And then our last two episodes, little Muriel gets transformed into a baby because she goes through a tornado. So Courage has to find a tornado that goes in the opposite direction in order to bring her back. I don't know. I'm going to put this in B tier just because of the stuff up here doesn't really compare to this episode. It's kind of funny when they jump out of the plane and then Courage has to drive it, but other than that. And then this one I'm automatically going to put in S tier. A lot of people find this one creepy at the end, which I do too. But they play it up to be a lot scarier than like the ending of Club Cats, where there's still a washing machine and a helicopter. You don't know how they're going to be transformed back. But this one, it just seems really creepy how he has to control his Eustace and Muriel for the rest of his life because we never see the solution.
Nice evening, isn't it, Eustace?
Long as it don't rain. Stupid dog! Ooga booga booga!
It also just gives me a freaky vibe, the whole episode does. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Later.